portions of this program are brought to you by Bailey's Custom Flooring. Treat your home or business to a makeover today with Bailey Custom Flooring, a proven contractor of commercial and residential coverings. Bailey Custom Flooring, locally owned and operated by Bill Bailey, offering floor covering sales and installation. For more information, call 290-6084.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Real Talk here on TV 35. I'm your host, Pat Brock, and we're here sharing about a wonderful organization, and they've got a fantastic, or should I say fabulous, luncheon coming up soon. We've got the Executive Director of W.I.N.G.S with us, Miss Heather Mullis. How are you, Heather?
I am good.
Good to see you.
You too.
Now listen, we're here for a very special occasion. We want you to kind of share with us and with the people of Dublin Lawrence County about what's coming up.
Okay, well, in a couple of days, we are hosting a Find Your Fabulosity luncheon. It's a ladies' luncheon. It is for the purpose of inviting ladies in the community to come and hear our guest speaker. And she's going to be talking about relationship violence, how to recognize that in our friends and family, as well as what to do to help.
Wow. And you know, when you think about this, a lot of times we don't like to think about it.
Right.
You know, and what you all do here at W.I.N.G.S and what you do for so many ladies and families that are in need is so special. And so with this luncheon, having someone to come in, now there's something pretty cool about what people are required to bring, right?
Absolutely. Admission for the luncheon is 1 tube of new lipstick. And that, for our guest speaker, her name is Cheryl Curlin, and she has founded the Find Your Fabulosity luncheon, and that is, I won't say a gimmick, but a conversation starter.
Right.
She founded the organization a while back after she, as an advocate, realized that one of the things that domestic violence victims were missing was self-esteem. And for a lot of ladies, makeup and personal care and lipstick is something that makes them feel special, makes them feel pretty. And so she found that by providing ladies with an opportunity to pick out their own lipstick and have fun with that, that it just made them start feeling better about themselves.
Very nice.
And so she started the organization to be able to provide lipstick for DV shelters across the United States, because she couldn't get to all of them.
Right.
And so she wanted to be able to spread that opportunity to other advocates who were working with victims. And so now she collects lipstick, and then she donates it to DV shelters such as W.I.N.G.S so that we can in turn use it with our ladies and do some of that same self-esteem, self-care, you know, empowering type of activities with them. And so that's kind of our point of admission.
I love that. You know, that's so clever. Of course, you know, I've got my tube of lipstick here. When you think about the women in your catchment area, the things that you do that some people just wouldn't even have a clue to all that you do, and why something like this, or something as simple as a tube of lipstick, what that does to transform their lives.
Absolutely. There's been several times when we've had ladies come into shelter and they've been so controlled by their abuser, they've been told what to wear, whether they can cut their hair or not. They're not allowed to wear makeup, and the abusers are so jealous, they're so afraid of any attention that anybody's going to give them, so they make them downgrade themselves so that nobody could possibly be interested in them.
Right.
And we've seen numerous of ladies that we've helped with. Sometimes we help them get haircuts, and we've had volunteers, cosmetologists, and things come in and do things like that with them. And it's just the difference that it makes, even just in that short period of time, for a victim to go from being told completely what to do, and now they can experiment with things like that.
And it's something I think that we take for granted.
Absolutely.
Those little things. And you know, and we want to make sure that we dispel rumors about what a person looks like who's being abused, what a person looks like that's involved in domestic violence, you know. So share with us about that.
Well, domestic violence can affect anybody, no matter your skin color, no matter your background, no matter your religion, no matter your education. If you are a human being, then you can potentially be a victim of domestic violence. It's men and women, it's teenagers, it's senior citizens, it's everybody.
And and it's like something like this for this ladies' luncheon. Of course, it's going to take place on April the 26th at 12 noon at the country club here. This is a time for you all to come and just to kind of listen, kind of take it in, to get a better understanding about domestic violence and how and whom it affects. And, it's something that can affect you all your life.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons that we're doing this is because a lot of victims, they don't want to reach out for help.
Right.
They only contact us as an organization as a last resort when it gets really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the ladies in the community can come out and learn more about relationship violence, learn about the signs and what to look for, then it may be that they can have a conversation with their sister, with their coworker, with somebody that they're friends with, and say, I'm a little bit concerned.
Right.
And maybe they can get some help for that person before they have to, to call us, before they have to come into shelter, before it's too late.
You're absolutely right. I had the opportunity when I was living in another state and working in DV to actually go to the schools and set up, displays and give lectures about dating violence. Because you see kids in the middle schools, you see kids in elementary schools with girlfriends and boyfriends, but they don't quite understand or even believe that they're in a situation where it's violence, where it's abuse. The way a person talks to you, the way you're being handled, And I often, being in the schools a lot, I'm always watching, and I think having a daughter and sons myself, I'm very sharp when it comes to making sure that I'm very familiar with my surroundings and what is abuse and what could actually lead to abuse as well.
I'm the same way. I have two teenage daughters, and
Yeah, it's true.
so
It's true.
I'm always watching out, and I'm always listening to them, and I'm always talking to them about what's healthy and what's not,
Right.
and making sure that they understand that what they see on TV and movies and songs is not necessarily healthy, and that's not necessarily the best way to be in a relationship. And so many kids, they've grown up in homes where it wasn't healthy, and so they don't understand what's right and what's wrong, and how they should be treated, and or how they should treat somebody that they're in a relationship with. And so I feel like the more education, the more information we can put out there for all ages, the better off we're going to be.
You're absolutely right. And and I think that if someone grows up in a home where there is violence, that's all they know.
It is.
That's what's familiar, and I think it can be a generational thing or a generational curse, where we look at it in the spiritual realm of things as well, to where if your daddy was an abuser, you're going to be an abuser, and it's a really dangerous cycle.
It is. And one of the things that we do with our ladies when they come into shelter, or we start working with them, is it's an abuse checklist. Yeah. And it's a whole list of things that a lot of people don't consider abuse. And so when they start going down there and like, that he did, I didn't realize, and so they're like, oh wow, it's a lot worse than I thought.
Right. And I think there's two warning signs. I think that, because we've worked in this field and you've been in it for many years, there's certain things that we see. Like if I see elements of control, my little antennas come up, honey.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's kind of like, I have to, to try to make an assessment of that situation, or even if I see it in other relationships or something like that, I'm very cognizant of that. Very cognizant.
I'm always looking at that. I can remember a situation with somebody I was around, and I was just watching the interaction between this young woman and her boyfriend at the time, and I remember thinking, I don't think that's right. And I'm like, dude, it's like, and I wanted to go and talk with her mama and say, you really need to talk to her about this. And I was just, so each time I was around them from then on, I was continuing to watch that situation, and thankfully nothing came of it. And I was just probably being hypervigilant.
Right.
But I think
part of who you are, Heather.
It is, and so I think that's why with coming to this luncheon, or if people aren't able to come to the luncheon, if they can find other ways of learning about domestic violence and learning about some of the signs and the things that they can do, I think that the few staff that I have here working at W.I.N.G.S is not enough to counteract all the violence that's happening in our community. So we need to share that load with the community.
That's right. And you're such a wonderful agency. As you can see back here on the board, you provide safety, support, shelter, and you've got a 24-hour crisis helpline, and give them that number too for anyone right now that may need help. I know we're talking about the Find Your Fabulosity Ladies Luncheon, but we know that there's some people out there, like you say, won't ask for help, but need help, depending on who you are, who you know, who knows you, your position, your status.
Yes.
A lot of that, deters people from even reaching out.
Yeah, so our 24-hour hotline is 272-8000, 478 area code, obviously. And there is somebody here, and it's a trained staff member who is answering the phone at all times.
Very good. And we want to make sure that we go over everything that we need to about the luncheon, because we really want to generate, for one, the excitement, the interest, about domestic violence, and to take part in something that's truly special. And we all know somebody, or even know somebody that knows somebody who has been part of a domestic violence situation, whether we want to admit that or not.
Oh, yeah. I think that when I go out in the community and start talking with people, invariably somebody has a story to tell.
Yeah.
Whether it's them, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, they always I know somebody.
Yeah.
The statistics say that 1 in 3 American women are going to be a victim of domestic violence, and that's a lot of women. So you're probably going to, somebody.
Yeah.
You may not know it, but you do.
You're right. And, I can even share about my family, my aunt. I was probably, I want to say 3 years old. I actually remember the funeral, and my aunt got killed by my uncle at the steps down there. I mean, you can still see the blood stain to where he killed her in front of their children. And I did research about that, and I went out to the gravesite and went out to the area where it happened. I interviewed some of my cousins, and they were sitting in the car, and one told me, he says, every day I think about that vision, every day of my life. And that's when you know that domestic violence is a serious, serious epidemic.
Absolutely. A lot of people don't understand that the victim is not just the person who is being hit or abused or controlled. There's children, there's family members, there's friends. And even if the person is not killed or seriously injured, the effects, especially on children, just last a lifetime.
You're right. And so what you all do and what this luncheon is doing is kind of like you have to rebuild. You have to kind of restore. The self-esteem, just so many things that have been damaged from domestic violence. And it's not just about a tube of lipstick either.
It's not. That's just the conversation starter, really.
Yeah,
that's just the outward symbol of something that's happening on the inside.
That's right. Well, thank you so much, Heather. It's always a pleasure to see you. We can't let it be this long next time. Thank you for all the work that you've done to help so many people, I know you didn't start this journey this way, but look how God is, how your life has gone. And the reward that we know that you get for knowing that you are not just changing lives, but you're transforming them.
I certainly hope so. It's definitely been a journey.
It has been. So keep on trucking.
I will.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ms. Heather Mullis, the Executive Director for W.I.N.G.S.
I'm Brian Bazemore with Community Bank of Dublin-Lawrence County. We've been in business for over 12 years here in the Dublin market, and we would like to invite you to come by and experience a new way of banking. We have the state-of-the-art teller pods, fast, friendly personnel, and we have same-day loan approval. Lenders are on site to be able to help with all of your financial needs. Come by today and experience a new way of banking. Community Bank of Dublin-Lawrence County, 605 Bellevue Avenue, Dublin.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we're at W.I.N.G.S. Of course, we've got the community educator with us, Miss Barb Johns. Good to see you, Barb.
Thank you. So good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. And you know, we're here talking about the fabulous luncheon that's going to be taking place on the 26th at the Dublin Country Club at what time?
It will be at noon.
12 noon.
Yes.
Now, we know there's an RSVP date. We want plenty of people to be able to come out and take part in this wonderful venture. Share with them about the RSVP date for them.
The RSVP date is on Thursday, the 19th of April.
All right, so ladies
Yes,
and gentlemen, you
coming
got a
right up.
you got a little time here, but make sure that you RSVP so that you can be a part of this wonderful, wonderful event. Now, Barb, share with us and the community out there of Dublin Lawrence County about what you do as a community educator.
I think I'm called the Jill of all trades. But in reality, I do a lot of community education, actually. We have had events with the schools wherein we can go to the classrooms and we can do the teaching and presentations as we're asked. And also we've had events in February is National Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. So we really try to put it in high gear during that time. And fortunately, the word has gotten around where there are quite a few that call us and ask us to come out and talk to the kids or whatever the case may be. And then also we've had churches and community organizations and that sort of thing that have asked us to please come and give presentations and all.
And you know, Barb, when you're talking about the work that you do, I mean, Dublin is a small town.
Correct.
But there's a lot of things that go on, things that you don't know about that go on here.
Yes.
And so what has been your, you know, the feedback that you've been getting after giving a presentation or setting up a booth? What's your feedback been?
For the most part, I feel like people have been surprised at some of the things that are given to them in information and education. And they become, I think, a lot more sensitive to the issue.
Right.
And they, for the most part, I also believe that a lot of them want to be supportive after that. And we've had a lot of people who have stepped forward to try to help in some way.
That's good. And if you could give some examples of, you know, what to look for when you're talking about, we don't want anyone to have to come to W.I.N.G.S, but to kind of help you to understand and be able to see the warning signs of healthy or unhealthy relationships and that could actually lead to domestic violence. What would be some of those warning signs to look for?
Well, there are quite a few, as you might guess, and a lot of them is the control issue. If you have a friend or a relative or someone that literally can't hardly take a breath without somebody wanting to know where they are, who they're with, what were they talking about, when they're going to be back, checking mileage or whatever the case may be, that is a big clue. And of course, if you see somebody yank somebody by the arm or shove them in the car or something like that, that's a huge warning sign, I would say. And then there are times on occasion where somebody wants to talk to somebody about the issue as far as this is what's going on in my home, I don't know what to do, and you recognize immediately that this isn't a good situation.
That's right.
And so there are a lot of different warning signs. I even feel like that sometimes if there are a tremendous amount of health issues, it could possibly be that their stress has caused their immune system to have issues that way. And it literally, from the high school kids to the elderly to the middle aged to anybody, can be abuse and violence going on. Now, there's some people who feel like emotional abuse is worse. Now, I don't really want to say which one is worse because that's up to the individual. But there's also the name calling. So if people are being degrading of that individual, then you know that's a warning sign. And so there are just a tremendous amount of different types of warning signs that we have to be astute to and be aware of and know that there is help available that they can call. The domestic violence shelter programs, which locally is W.I.N.G.S, and of course being open 24/7, 365 throughout the year, and that number being 478-272-8000. They can call, and we can talk to them and hopefully be of help.
I mean, and you all are such a help to so many. As we were sharing kind of off camera, I've worked in domestic violence and sexual assault for many years. And when I worked at an agency in Milledgeville, I remember partnering with W.I.N.G.S. That was early on. I had to been probably in 1990. I'm thinking 1994.
Okay.
Many, many years ago.
Great.
But I know that you are an organization that cares about the people. And you work with, I always say this, a spirit of excellence to make sure that the families are taken care of and that they're able to, when they transition out of W.I.N.G.S, that they'll be able to stand on their own and be able to have that, you know, that stability and that self-confidence that continues to build as they become into their own.
Yes, ma'am. We are hopeful that that will happen as far as the empowerment. As far as, of course, safety is number one.
Right.
Because we are all, I think, getting more aware, if we aren't already, that that's one of the most dangerous things that you can do is to leave a highly abusive, violent relationship.
Right.
And the statistics, I think, now are almost worse than ever about those that have tried to take the step to leave. And that could possibly lead to murder, suicide, or whatever the case may be. So it's a very dangerous thing on occasion. And people have to be very astute that if you decide you're going to tell somebody, well, why don't you just leave? Why don't you just get out of that? That it's possible that that could be their final decision, and as far as safety is concerned.
You're right, and it's such a big decision to have to make.
It is.
You know, and I know that we can't make that decision for that individual. They have to come to that point of their own to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
And so thank you so much. You've got some brochures too. I mean, there's so many brochures, information about W.I.N.G.S, about relationships that you see, signs of healthy relationships.
That's right. Education.
Education, and I think education is the key, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. The more you're educated, the better decisions you can make.
That's right, that's right.
Knowledge, awareness, and everything.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for all that you do in the community, Barb.
Thank you.
This is going to be a great time, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to reiterate April the 26th at 12 noon at the Dublin Country Club. Of course, the RSVP date is the 19th.
Absolutely correct.
All right. Finding your fabulosity. You're still doing that, Barb, aren't you?
Pretty much. Thank you so much. Yes. I didn't know it was called Fabulosity, but yes, absolutely. I love my lipstick. Absolutely.
Yes, you do. Thank you, Barb, so much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Barb Johns, who is the community educator for W.I.N.G.S.
Georgia Military College is a 2-year associate's degree granting institution. We are an open admissions college. What that means is all you need to do is have a high school diploma or a GED to get accepted into GMC. We offer several associate's degree programs, including business administration, pre-nursing, psychology, criminal justice, as well as education. We offer classes during the morning, evening, and at night. We even offer some weekend classes. We offer online classes as well as in-seat classes, whatever is convenient for you and your schedule. We are located at 200 South Jefferson Street in Dublin, Georgia. If you want a great education with small class sizes, affordable tuition, we would love to see you here. Stop by to see us or give us a call. Start here, go anywhere. Georgia Military College, Dublin campus.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got an intern with us. We've got Miss Lizzie Mathias. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Now, Lizzie, we're sharing about this great event that's going to be taking place on the 26th of April, but you have an awesome thing that you want to share with us, I mean, about the national movement that takes place. But first, tell us about you, okay, and how you became an intern here with W.I.N.G.S.
Yes, ma'am. W.I.N.G.S is an organization that gives back to our community in more ways than one. So interning here was kind of an easy decision. I'm familiar with the staff here, Ms. Barb especially.
Yeah.
So kind of having that connection with her made it easier to come back and made me more willing to give back here.
Very good. And so we see you're the SGA president
Yes,
at Middle
ma'am.
Georgia, and you're a senior. What are you majoring in?
Public and Human Services.
Very nice. And so when you look over the horizon where you're about to graduate, Lizzie, I mean, where can you see yourself going after graduation?
I would really like to work with the homeless population. I've looked into a job working with the mental health homeless population, and so I'm hoping to hear good reviews back from that.
That will be so wonderful for you because there's such a need.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now share with us and the people out there of Dublin-Lawrence County about the national movement on college campuses.
Yes, ma'am. It's called the It's On Us campaign. Student leaders across the country, student governments especially, come together and take a stand to stop sexual violence on our college campuses. So we have 5 campuses at Middle Georgia State, and so each campus will have their own event. Ms. Barb and I will be presenting at 2 of those, and it's just a way to say that as student leaders we take initiative to stop this happening within our student population.
And that's so wonderful because, you know, there's so much sexual violence that does take place on college campus. You've got a lot of kids that are coming in. You know, there's a lot of naivety there where kids are not used to being on their own, and so they're put in different environments. And so this is such a great need. And so now with you, how do you prepare for something like this? Because you're a student as well, and being able to kind of share with your peers something that's actually very sensitive. How do you prepare yourself for that?
It is a sensitive topic. There are a lot of people who don't take very well to topics like this, but it is a topic that needs to be discussed. The information needs to be out there. So that's just, at the end of the day, we know we're making a difference. It may be an uneasy difference, but it's a difference that needs to be made.
That's right. And we thank you, Lizzie, for the difference that you're making.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great day today to talk about Find Your Fabulosity, the ladies' luncheon for W.I.N.G.S. that are great speakers coming in. It's going to be at the Dublin Country Club on April the 26th at 12 noon. The RSVP date is on the 19th. We hope that you've learned a little bit more about domestic violence and how important it is to have luncheons such as this to kind of give you a little bit more information, to see the people and the organizations and the agencies that partner together to help our community. Lizzie, did you want to take us out, or you think I can handle it?
I think you can handle it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have for Real Talk on TV 35, so please keep watching.
Mid-State Pools and Spas knows pools, in-ground pools to above-ground pools. Mid-State Pools and Spas has over 35 years in the industry, building more than 3,000 pools. Now, we build all our own pools, never subcontracting the work out. So if you're ready to build a pool, renovate a pool, or you need weekly maintenance or liner replacement with a full 20-year warranty, call the professionals at Mid-State Pools and Spas. Visit our showroom today at 2273 Veterans Boulevard in Dublin and see the new line of Marquee Spas. For the ultimate in hot tub experiences, choose Marquee Spas. Also see our new selection of casual patio furniture available now at our showroom, Mid-State Pools and Spas, where we know pools.